Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. You're Allah's chosen one, the chosen one to spread the truth from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The chosen one, though the road is long, just know Allah won't let you lose your way. You are the mercy for mankind. You are the teacher for this life. Allah has blessed you with the Quran.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Our dear audience, welcome back to Muhammad the Leader sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In episode 2, we'll be discussing communication. Communication is one of the chapters that Dr. Mamdouh has worked on while writing the book. If we speak about communication, it's what I'm doing now. We are here in this studio communicating a message to you. You communicate with each other every day. You communicate with your family, at work, with your kids, with people on the street, even when you buy things. But how you communicate is what we're going to be talking about. We're learning today how Prophet Muhammad communicated with people sallallahu alayhi wa sallam back in time. Dr. Mamdouh, welcome.
Alan, welcome as well.
All right, Dr. Mamdouh, today's topic is about communication, and this is one of the really interesting ones.
Yes.
I'd like to start by a quote from the sayings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Prophet Muhammad said, "Address people according to the level of understanding." How can these great words for Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, be the password for communication skills?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, when you communicate with people, there are many things that we need to think of. One of them, which is a little bit before this, is you need to listen to people. If you don't listen to people, you will never be a great leader. You will never be a great leader. If you don't listen very well and attentively to the people, you would not know, or you may misunderstand the message that they are giving you.
So can you show here the difference between hearing and listening?
Okay. Here the linguistic difference, yes. Here, when you hear attentively when you hear. But sometimes the word hear, becomes so great. I have heard some news today or something like this. I don't want to get into the linguistic difference between them, but I want to say that if you don't listen to people, you will not get the message well. And leaders are good listeners. You can say that. Leaders are good listeners, or good hearers, if we can say. They listen attentively. And this quality would make the people respect you. If you particularly deal with old people, your parents, this is a very good advice. Parents love the child that they have who listens to them more instead of, because they get the message clearly, and that's what once you get the message clearly, you start communicating, speaking to people. And here is the advice that you just mentioned by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you deal with people, deal with them according to their level of understanding. You cannot speak a language that's so high to people who don't understand this. Rather, you get the message across by using very simple language. So when you deal with, for example, a society that are full of workers and villagers and people who live in primitive environment, you need to talk to them in a very simple language. And the Prophet ﷺ, as I mentioned perhaps in the previous episode, he said that he mastered this kind of language, that he uses the best words that would convey the message. And by this way, they will communicate with you. They say something and you interact with them. Try to imagine that you interact with them in a very high language they wouldn't understand. Even they lose respect for you. They want to understand, because the essence of communication is understanding.
Yes. So as some people mistakenly say, speaking is enough for a good leader.
Oh, yes. This, of course, it's one ear, not two ears. It's as if you have ears, right? And you don't have mouth to speak with. Speaking is one aspect. Speaking and selecting the language, it's not just speaking, all of us speak. But you select the words that would help you communicate the message that you want.
I see.
This is one. But at the same time, you have to listen to the people.
Right.
You have to listen to the audience. Now, this is a very famous example. Right. For example, I will do this with you if you are ready.
Sure.
Yes. Please put your hand on your eye. Do as I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
What did you do? I said, put your hand on your eye.
Yes.
But you put it here. Right? So I did not get the message well right here. And the people did not understand it. They just wanted to imitate me.
What you said is something and what you did is something else.
Absolutely. I did something different. So it's very important to have these two elements, because usually in communication, you have three elements. You have the message, you have the conveyor of the message, and the receiver. So there are three elements here. So, and to be a very good communicator, right, you have to, as I mentioned perhaps, that Ronald Reagan was one of the a good communicator. He communicates his message very well.
Yes.
But I'm telling the people, yeah, definitely Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was much or far better than Ronald Reagan and many other people.
True.
Simply because there is one dimension here that I want to focus on. He said that many things that I was taught by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do this. So it's not 100% from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rather, there is another element here, which is his creator is the one who taught him. Of course, no one is better than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And therefore, the quality of communication was great in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
So,
Inna min al-bayani la sihra, as the Arabs say. See that eloquency and clarity has the impact of magic on people. So if you select the words, and that's what the people do. Now when you attend any speech and you find it has impact on you, you find that the secret behind that is the speaker is using the words and quotations from the Quran and from what the Prophet he's using other people's language, and this is an art. If you know such a thing, why would you waste your time trying to compose your own khutbah without resorting to the best source, which is the Quran and the Prophet's statements?
Right. So communication through spreading da'wah has also been, I mean, to communicate, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used communication wisely to spread da'wah. And this, I have read about this in your book, and I'd really like to hear more about it.
Which aspect exactly in communication? Anyway, the Prophet ﷺ, the reason that he reached this level that nobody can reach, because he was the most eloquent speaker of Arabic language. Although, remember that he was illiterate.
Yes.
He didn't know how to read and write, but he knew how to speak. Right. And this quality of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ made him on the top of the Arabs, if not on the top of other people. I'm quite sure that if he had learned other languages, he would have mastered them. But his focus was on Arabic, because simply it is the language of the Quran and it is the language of his people.
Right.
And they say, by the way, in terms of communication, most of the problems, or 65%, if I'm not mistaken, about the number, 65% of the problems of the work or the problems that happen between people is because of miscommunication. If you miscommunicate your message with people, if you don't listen to the people well, there are many negative things that happen because of the use of communication. Two people are speaking and everybody is raising his voice. Three people are speaking, or a number of people are speaking at the same time. Nobody is listening to the other.
Right.
And you've seen that these examples in the movies and in everyday life. It's impossible to communicate if everybody is speaking and nobody is listening. And that's why they say that the learner one who learns how to be a leader, he should listen more than to speak. If you speak, you say what you have already. But if you listen, you learn something new.
Right.
Do you see?
Right. Yeah,
and now I'm speaking, I'm talking about things that I already
you
knew.
already know, yes.
But when I listen to you, when you raise some issues that I'm paying a lot of attention to, you're saying, because I am learning.
You learn more.
I will learn more. I know about the details. That's why you can find this kind of leaders, for example, judges, for example. They listen to the people in the court when they complain about things. They listen to the lawyers attentively, because one word, otherwise people will be laughing at them because they did not understand the message very well.
True.
Yeah. And as you know, one word would make a big difference. Word north is different from south, and the word yes is different from the word no. So if you get one of them wrongly, incorrectly, you go to the other direction.
The incorrect one, yes. True. So now if we speak about Prophet Muhammad when he started, for example, if he's making a decision or there is a topic that the whole society is concerned with and it's going to affect them, with Prophet Muhammad, communication included not only speaking and listening, as I have read in your book. It says it is extended to consultation, the core of democracy.
I would make a little comment about this.
Sure.
Consultation is long before democracy. Consultation. And people exercise this naturally. For example, within family members, you usually consult them. You are going to color or paint the bedroom, and which color would you like? You don't directly go and ask the worker to do with pink or to do with green or to do with. You consult the person who lives with you in this. You consult with your wife, at least, and you consult with the children. And the more you consult, the more you get broader mind, because you have a perspective and they have perspectives. And if you are blind about their perspectives, you miss a lot. You miss 80% of the people in the house, right? When you take your own decision. So therefore, the more you consult, the more you become stronger. And the concept of consultation is openly mentioned in the Quran and many places. And the Prophet Muhammad used to consult, and I'd like to stress this issue, to consult males and to consult female.
Right.
In some cases, he did not consult me. He consulted female only, and he took the opinions of the females, and this is just to broaden the minds of the people who watch this program to know.
And he was caring much to learn about the people who live with him.
Absolutely.
The people who live in this small community, the people living around me.
Absolutely.
When I make decisions, when we try to live together, I'm not living alone.
Yeah, and consultation is specialized. If I want something about production, video production, I would consult the cameraman, I would consult people who are specialized. It's not something open, because if you have, let's say that if you live in a country that has 2 million people, it's almost impossible to gather them, to consult them. Right?
True.
Rather, even if there are, and here I'm talking about democracy, and perhaps in democracy they get people elected, but this is not the ones that you need to consult, by the way.
I see.
Because consultation is something very special. You need to consult with doctors about using a medicine with a patient. There is no need for consulting with engineers.
True, yeah. True.
This is, in Islam,
this is how you become selective to maximize the benefit.
And therefore, the Prophet ﷺ, as you just mentioned, a very good point, that he knew the qualities of the people around him. For consultation, you have to know the people.
Exactly.
The more you know, the more details that you have about them, the more you will consult them about relevant issues.
Right. So, Dr. Mamdouh, I'm going to talk with you about the open communication that we had with Prophet Muhammad ﷺ for 23 years, right after the break. Our audience, stay with us, and we'll be back with communication and learning more about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam life after the break. Stay with us.
Oh, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
We welcome your month, we all adore, we pray for happiness.
The Quran, the book of Allah, the miraculous words of Allah, the light in the midst of all darknesses, has so many rights on us. And because of that, we initiated Quran Circle. In Quran Circle 1, we listened to the entire Quran. This was a great blessing.
وقرآنا فرقناه لتقرأه على الناس على مكث ونزلناه تنزيلا.
The Quran is both concise and comprehensive. It has all aspects of guidance to all mankind. And because of that, in Quran Circle 2, we selected verses in every juz with a specific topic. We listened to the recitation and we reflected upon the meaning of that specific topic.
الله نور السماوات والأرض مثل نوره كمشكاة فيها مصباح.
Each surah in the Quran, every chapter of the Quran has an objective. We looked into the objectives of the surahs that we chose and selected in Quran Circle 3.
لينذر من كان حيا ويحق القول على الكافرين.
Brothers and sisters, join us this Ramadan in Quran Circle 3. Get ready, open your mushafs and follow with the recitation and wait for the reflection after we finish the recitation.
Welcome back, our dear audience. We're still talking here about communication back in time with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Dr. Mamdouh, before the break we were asking a question related to the 23 years that Prophet Muhammad had and in relation with the concept of open communication. Could you please tell us a little bit more which we had in the chapter?
There is one quality of the Prophet ﷺ that I'd like to stress in this aspect, which is the approachability. He is approachable. Everybody can approach him. Try to imagine. Yes, he made himself available for people so that otherwise, if you don't make yourself available to people, how can you listen to their complaints?
This really reflects so many things in my mind, because nowadays there are so many people whose main concern is to close doors and not speak to people because I'm not free, I'm busy, I don't have time for this. Why would I listen? I know your complaints already.
Okay. Of course, this is a kind of obsolete kind of leadership. Those cannot be leaders and will never be leaders.
Exactly.
Yeah, to be a leader, you have to make yourself available to the people around you, because this is the only way that you communicate. How would you know that I'm going to talk to you about this topic? And that's why in kind of new leadership in the world nowadays, you would find that not only there's open separators between desks, now they have in Japan, for example, we have all these separators between desks are glass. Everything is glass. Everything is open. So, and the director himself nowadays, right, the good leader would not have even a desk to put himself. He all the time moves in people. He has meetings, and his secretary would arrange this kind of meeting. This is in this room, and this is the other room, and this room is with open glass, with just glasses. Everybody sees what's happening. Being approachable is something essential for a good leader, and that you'll find that those leaders who are approachable are more beloved than the others.
True.
Yes, You can use your intelligence and your smart thinking in organizing these things. Yet you have your leader to be approached very simply, particularly the direct leader. Yes, because
what you're saying is completely true, because you know, when one person in a family, in a work setting, in a school, university, even professors, once you face a challenge, there is this one person who comes across your mind, and you feel very comfortable that you want to go talk to this person because you know he or she is going to listen to you.
Yes, this is great. And also in the family, in the level of a family, there's something very essential. You cannot be a good father and you isolate yourself and you don't become approachable to your children. Otherwise, you will find everybody in the house is closing his room, and this would isolate the people, would never unify, would never share the goals, and would never share the mission and the vision of the family.
Exactly.
We need to share this with each other to benefit. You are the one who are going to benefit. If you make yourself available, you would listen to all these 10 or 20 people around you. It's so far much better than if you listen to 2 or 3 people only.
Right. So what kind of maybe small steps that, because let me say that someone, him or herself, as a good exert effort to let people know that they're open for communication. They might feel comfortable that they wait and for people to come knock their door and say, you have to be approachable. How can I do that?
Yeah, you can do it very simply, in different approach, in different ways. For example, yes, you write your schedule. And most of the leaders would do this. My schedule is for meeting visitor from outside the organization is from 9 to 10 in the morning. And from 11 to 12, this is the time where I meet with senior managers. And the other time is for this kind of laborers. And you organize your time, yes. And in the morning, and you should fill, if you want to meet with him, you come one day before, right, or 2 days before, and you write on the table for day Wednesday, 26th of November, whatever day, and you specify that you want to see him at this time. Each one has 15. This is very simple to do nowadays with the technology that we have, with the mobiles, and with the, it's very easy.
So first, to invite people, to let people know that I have these particular hours for you to come and talk.
These particular hours for you. It's not for me. Right. Okay. And there are some hours for he himself to use them in better ways.
This is very encouraging.
It is. It is very simple and very encouraging. And people usually have this feeling when, particularly in some areas in the world, when they meet with the leader, they become very, very, very motivated. And they have a feeling that they have achieved something by meeting him. But when they see him, and this impression would disappear after some time, because he is available all the time. You can see him every day at this specific time. So it becomes not something that is really, how do you call it, artistic? No, it's content-wise. You have some content to share with him, and you have to appreciate it. Do you really need to meet with him, or you just want to show off that you met with your leader? The most important thing is when you meet with the leader, you listen very well and you change. Because when the leader asks you to do something, right? When you learn by practice. You get the knowledge, but you need to practice it. Because there's a big gap between getting just the pure knowledge. You can get it from any book. But practice, you see, and this requires a lot of attention. You need to notice and observe very closely what your boss or what your leader does. Does he do this? Does he do?
So you may need to anticipate and have a great vision of this.
Yes. Yes, in order. So you learn by observation.
Right. And that's why we ask people always to set a good role model and set an example, and they do what they ask people to do.
But let me give you an idea about being approachable, about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You can say the leader of the world, right? Not only at his time, he still leads many people now, the 1.7. He was approachable to the degree that one time an old lady had a problem and she wanted to share it with the Prophet ﷺ. But she wanted to share it in an atmosphere of privacy. She was among the crowd of the Prophet ﷺ, and she approached the Prophet ﷺ. She took him from his wrist, right? And he followed her. He walked with her without speaking anything, without saying anything. He was so lenient in the hand of the lady, and she took him to.
He didn't stop her. He didn't say,
"What are you doing?" He didn't stop her. He didn't make any comment. He was smiling. Just followed her until she became a little bit away from the crowd, so that nobody would listen to what he. She started talking to him, explaining her complaint to him, and he responded to her. You can imagine, this is the leader of the world. This is the last messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who had this great mission to do, to spread this religion to other people, yet he did not stop the woman from doing this. Try to imagine the self-esteem that she got. Try to imagine that the opportunity of sharing her problem directly with the leader of the world. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam had the ability to communicate with people from diverse economic and social backgrounds.
Yes.
Sometimes in our life we deal with people from different social and economic background, educational. Although we were saying that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, address people according to their level of understanding, this is so much related, but it might be somehow difficult for us to apply. I need your advice.
Yeah, this is something very good, very sensitive and very good. If people talk more than they act, they wouldn't be good leaders. Because you need to practice this. If you never sat with poor people, when you sit with them for the first time, for the second time, you will be very much challenged by them. You will never be able to communicate with them because you don't know their social habits. You don't know the language that they speak. You don't know the etiquettes that they do. You have to understand, because with communication is not just by speaking. We know that body language is part of communication.
True.
So now you need to understand these things. You have to live with them. You have to sit with them and talk to them and let them speak, so you would know about them more than they know about you. They want their problems to be solved, but you want first to communicate very well, even to the degree that you understand that Muslims, for example, in eating, they sit in a special way, right? And they eat by their right hand, and all these are ways of communication. And I was, let me just tell you about this personal experience.
Please.
I was one time in one of the universities having a lecture there, but before the lecture there was a lunch.
Where was that?
Where was in the States.
In the States, okay.
Yeah. I was invited. Anyway, we were sitting, and VIP people were sitting.
Okay.
The secretary of the president of the university asked me, why are you she said that you are making a mistake, and you are eating by...
What was she commenting on?
The eating, because the knife was on my left hand,
okay,
and the fork was on the right hand.
Right hand, okay.
And she said that, I think you make a mistake. You should
mistake,
reverse
yes,
them.
Yes.
I said, no, you should make a reverse. You should. I said, many people do that. I said, I asked her, who taught you to do this?
She most probably said etiquette?
She thought of it. She said that, I don't know. But the one who taught me is a messenger.
Right.
I was taught by a messenger of Allah to eat by my right hand. So she said that I do respect you because you mentioned something. He is much, much better than other people. So I should have learned from a messenger.
Exactly.
Anyway, this is what you need to observe. I think she's done a good thing, but by observing that I am not doing what the people in the different culture, let's sit together, but you eat the way that you have learned, and I eat.
Exactly, yes.
I practice my culture, and you practice your own culture, and this way, multicultural society.
Exactly. And I really liked the way you communicated the message to her. I think that's a really interesting point to end our episode with. Dr. Mamdouh, thank you so much for being with us today in the communication episode.
Thank you as well. Jazakallahu khairan.
Thank you. Our dear audience, that was the last minute in our episode for the communication part in Muhammad the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam program. Stay with us. We're going to be discussing so many chapters in the future. We're learning more and going deeper in the book. Stay with us for the next episode and see you very soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Oh Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you're Allah's chosen one, the chosen one to spread the truth from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The chosen one, though the road is long, just know Allah won't let you lose your way. You are the mercy for mankind. You are the teacher for this life. Allah has blessed you with the Quran. Rasul Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, you're Allah's chosen one.